There for Care is brought to you by CareScout with the goal of sharing real-life conversations about aging care. Views expressed on this program are the speaker's own. We do not provide medical, legal, tax, financial, or other professional advice. Always talk to your own professional advisors for advice tailored to your needs.
Welcome to There for Care by CareScout, a podcast all about navigating aging care, whether for yourself or a loved one. My name is Katie Boyles, and today's guest is Jessica Donahue. She is a licensed clinical social worker who specializes in dementia care, and today we're going to talk about navigating the holidays as a caregiver. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, to start, can you just explain to everyone, how did you get into this space?
Yeah, so I was very fortunate to grow up in a family that really valued and took a lot of time caring for our elders. My paternal grandmother was actually a nursing home nurse into her mid-80s, and my mother was a caregiver for her elderly aunts and then her own mother. So I grew up in this space, and it's somewhere where I feel very blessed to feel comfortable and excited to help people make it as, wonderful as they can.
And now the holidays are coming up, which can be both fun and joyful, but also stressful when you add family in. What are some considerations that our caregivers should remember?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think when you're navigating the holidays and you're a caregiver or somebody with dementia, advanced planning is going to be your friend. So, it's highly likely that you may not be able to do everything that you've done in the past, whether that is not hosting an elaborate meal or not flying across the country to spend 3 days with family because of your loved one's dementia. So talking with your family in advance about things that you think will work, things you think that won't work, to try to make a plan so everyone is on board before you get there. And then it's also really important, I think, before a holiday happens, if you think that you want to let people know who maybe haven't seen your loved one with dementia in a while about any significant changes or anything they may want to do or be aware of. So that may look like, hey, Katie, I know you haven't been home in 6 months. I wanted to let you know that in this time, Dad's dementia has progressed and he really struggles if you try to ask him to do too many things at once. So if you're going to ask him to do things, maybe keep it to one step at a time to help him through something.
And that's such a great tip about not surprising people. But what happens if you are surprised, or things that you can look out for where maybe you don't know if your loved one has dementia, but you show up for the holidays and then you find there might be an issue?
Absolutely. And that's the flip side of the coin is as the primary caregiver may be preparing your loved ones, but what you may not be prepared for is the feedback they may bring to you if they haven't seen your loved one in a while and changes that they may not have observed or you may not have observed that they have observed having been away from it a little while. So sometimes people should be prepared for that feedback as well. But certainly, one of the things that's really important to think about is adapting traditions and adapting what you do to set yourself up for success.
And what are some ways that people can adapt the traditions they've always had?
Yeah. So I think a big one is thinking about timing. We have this tendency to eat a huge meal at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or stay up really late and go to midnight mass on Christmas Eve. And so thinking about how can you move things so that they fit maybe more into a day-to-day routine. Also being aware many folks with dementia, as we know, have sundowning behavior, which is just more challenges in the late afternoon and early evening hours. So having things happen earlier in the day, if you think that may be an issue, keeping things a little bit shorter, and just setting up those boundaries in advance.
And so that's a lot for caring for the loved one. What are reminders for the actual caregiver during this time?
Oh, absolutely. So I think one thing to think about as a caregiver is that it is really okay to ask for help, always, but especially during the holidays. A lot of people, I think, don't realize how many other people want to help them and help them care for their loved one, but maybe don't feel they know how, aren't comfortable, don't want to, offer help and then mess it up and make things worse for you. So if you can tell people what you want, I think you'll be shocked at how many people would love to help you. So for example, you might say, I make the sweet potato casserole and that's my thing, but I can't get out of the house to get it. I want to stay here with my loved one. So Katie, this is my recipe list. Can you go to the store and get me everything that I need so I can make it this afternoon? It's things like that. So you can ask for specific help. And I think really setting boundaries for what you can and cannot do. It's okay too if what you feel like you can't go. If you don't want to go, if you want to do a Zoom call or even just a phone call, if you want to connect in a different way, allowing yourself to know and accept those things. I always tell people too, dementia is progressive and it's a journey. So everything is going to be different every holiday. What worked last year on Christmas may not work on Thanksgiving. And that doesn't mean you're going to be able to do less. You may be able to do more because you've figured out better how to manage your loved one. So it can feel like such a loss around the holidays if you can't have these big family gatherings or go to certain things, but it may not be forever. It may just be for this one. And then, I think finding a little bit of time for yourself during the holidays. I mean, it can be so hard for any of us, especially for caregiving as well, but maybe just a couple hours to cozy up, watch a favorite holiday movie and feel the spirit for a little bit, maybe laugh, cry, release a little bit can be such a lovely way to take some time for yourself.
And that's such a good reminder to maybe just remove the pressure.
Yeah.
Ask for help. And for our listeners right now who might be caregivers, what are the top things you want them to know about the holidays right now?
It's okay if they're stressful, but absolutely the more we can plan in advance and really be open with the other people that are involved about what you need, what you want, what's going to work and what's not going to work, is going to set yourself up really for success.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today and helping some of our caregivers with their holiday plans.
Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you for joining There for Care by CareScout. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.